So will Donald Trump and Narendra Modi be friends again? There have been fast-track developments over the last 2 days, yesterday and today. First a message, a statement by Donald Trump, today a message by Prime Minister Modi. So Siddhant, what's happening? Is the diplomatic equations being reset here after a bitterness of about 1 or 2 months?
Well, Aman, this was in the making, as I said before, and I was getting this hint from top officials in the Indian government. There are a few reasons to this reset or the start of reset, Aman. India has always valued this partnership. There has not been any single below-the-belt remark coming from the Indian side, despite so many coming from likes of Peter Navarro and others. Also, India's response has been very measured. India is also not participating at the Leaders' Summit in the BRICS Leaders Meet on 8th of September, which itself is a signaling to the United States that if BRICS is going to condemn the tariff, India is not participating in that meeting at the leaders level. Also, Aman, very important to highlight here that Donald Trump was under immense pressure from the think tank and strategic community in DC, likes of John Bolton's, Jake Sullivan's, and Kurt Campbell's of DC, because they were trying to project this image of Trump that he's spoiling, he's damaging the India-US partnership, and both sides gave 25 years of hard work, officials, former presidents, administrations involved. So that also kind of impacted President Trump, and perhaps this is the reason that he spoke good about Prime Minister Modi, and immediately there was a response from Prime Minister Modi.
And the fact that Donald Trump said it first and the Prime Minister's response to it, it also, I think that narrative which is going to be pushed here is that we stood our ground, the cookie crumbled, so to say, as Donald Trump is concerned. And, like our optics, that Russia, China, India axis, the Prime Minister going for the SCO summit, and repeatedly one minister after another saying कि हम नहीं झुकेंगे, we are going to do what is good for our economy. The Commerce Minister saying that, the Finance Minister said this to us at our interview also, where self-respect is most important.
Correct.
So is the BJP smiling?
There's a lot of back channel talks that have been happening. Multiple people had questioned where was Dr. Jaishankar, when the PM went to Japan and China. Many in the establishment say that he was given a different job, quote unquote, is what he said to have told, a couple of people as well. And also I've learned from my sources that, towards the last week of August, there was a big golf tournament which was supposed to take place where Indian CEOs were meant to, go there with Donald Trump. They cancelled out on it. That also could have been an impact that could have played on his mind, because eventually Donald Trump is not Donald Trump the business, he's not Donald Trump the politician, he's more Donald Trump the businessman.
So that's why I guess it was easier for India to play that game, and the Prime Minister not going for UNGA as it was being reported is very clearly gives that messaging that, like we are maintaining that kind of a distance.
I think also PM Modi, in a way, though he may not have spoken harshly against Trump at all in the last couple of months. In fact, he's not even mentioned him in any of his comments. But I think his signals are very always, Mr. Modi excels in it. So when you go to an SCO summit and you almost get Xi and Putin together in that huddle, and there's a conversation, and I think especially later when Putin invites Mr. Modi to travel in his own car, and both leaders almost have a bilateral summit inside a Russian car on Chinese soil. Where no Chinese buck can be
that was a very strong message.
That was a very strong message.
Putin was in Donald Trump's car, and then our Prime Minister was with Putin in the same car, and see how things have changed.
See, one thing that you know about Prime Minister Narendra Modi, like Aman was saying, that he gives a very subtle message without saying this. So even when he spoke in the parliament and he spoke about the fact that it was a bilateral decision to announce, the ceasefire, he didn't name Donald Trump. Never has the Prime Minister named Donald Trump. Even when he said that, if there is a price which has to be paid, we will pay it. I will pay that price, but we won't let our critical sectors really suffer as well. So that's typical Prime Minister Narendra Modi,
isn't it? That's also diplomacy.
He used this term, economic selfishness. So he used this, I think, 2 or 3 times. Even in SCO speech, he said that. So, but not naming Donald Trump. So I think
it's
very
a strategic silence. Okay, and as I said, that this relationship is beyond personalities. Okay, presidents will come and go, but this relationship will continue. And that was the idea, as far as Indian policymakers, officials are concerned. That otherwise it will become Trump versus India back and forth each time around. We need to focus on fundamental issues, the substantial issues between the two countries. That was an idea, and I think that it worked. It worked, and Yes, Payal, you want to add?
Eventually, it's not just the trade relations that we have with India. We have a lot of other relations with India. So I remember very interestingly during a standing committee meeting headed by Shashi Tharoor, some MPs, I think Abhishek Banerjee, somebody else, asked Vikram Misri that question, that why is Donald Trump doing all this? Vikram Misri, in a typical style, in a very, very typical style, said, he doesn't ask for my permission, sir, to speak. So that's typical Donald Trump, isn't it?
The services sector, that's a very powerful sector which matters even to the American economy. I mean, you know, like they say, I remember there was a meme I saw which shows that Americans were struggling to make and assemble an iPhone. And only the Chinese can do it, and of course Indians are very great at it. So
the memes are hilarious. Donald Trump, you know, making sure that India and England, you know, are not able to draw a match. The memes are really, really funny.
I think going ahead also, Siddhant, like the bonhomie is good, what we've seen today, but as Payal was mentioning, I think in a phone live in the morning, that you can't second guess Trump. You don't know what he's going to say tomorrow. So,
actually, you can't even second guess the Prime
be
Minister.
very cautious.
His silence and his subtle diplomacy and his politics is kind of springs a surprise.
I think going ahead now,
I asked one minister in the government saying, is he upset that we are not buying those planes from him? That minister very, very, you know, with a straight face said that if Donald Trump's planes have to be bought, then before that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will have to buy a Ferrari for each of his ministers. That is the kind of expense that you're really looking at.
It's very important to draw the Lakshman Rekha, Pallavi, because, you know, we cannot be agreeing to whatever he says, okay? And this is not only about the tariff issue. Okay, tomorrow, okay, fine, we agree to what you are saying. Then he'll come up with a new demand. Okay, fine, we agree to that. Then we'll come up with a new demand.
We
are not businessmen.
We are not some Caribbean island country. You know, it's a nation of 140 crore people. You know, we cannot just be, okay, you will dictating terms sitting in the Oval Office.
And also the thing is, I think what really angered the government, including the Prime Minister, was a dead economy comment.
Correct.
That has really gone down very personally. And, you know, I mean, I'm told that, I mean, I'm coming back to a GST thing, but I'm told that there was also one reason which was the Prime Minister called the finance minister and his team of ministers and told them that हमें कुछ करना है, we have to prove these people wrong, which is why if you notice those GDP figures and RBI press conferences and the international rating agencies like Moody's, S&P, and of course the ultimate is GST. We are trying to show to the world and to America that we are not a dead economy.
Correct.
I would see this as a slap in the face also to the American president, but also to many in the opposition parties, you know, who talked about dead economy and believed Donald Trump more than they believed our own.
And that's why Nirmala Sitharaman, when she was holding the press conference, said that too bad for you all if you all think that, you know, the tariff provoked this. We've been discussing this for the last 1.5 years.
One very quick point. Prime Minister Modi, when went to DC in February, you know, he proposed the idea of MAGA plus MEGA. You know, both economies can work together and can do the bilateral trade. The goals were set for $500 billion. Okay. Now, you see the situation of the MAGA, so-called MAGA economy.
तो समझ में आ गया, MEGA क्या है?
MEGA, Make India Great Again.
Oh, अच्छा,
Yeah. So
Siddhant is talking like a professor, right?
So no, I'll just make a quick point.
Sure,
now, yesterday, the labor statistics came, Aman, and 22,000 jobs in August, which is much below the expectation, which was 75,000 jobs. So despite doing so much, making so much noise that I'm bringing industries, I'm bringing employment, it's much below the target. The targets have not been achieved. And on the other end, the so-called dead economy for President Trump, you know, we are doing reforms in GST. We have brought down our income tax slab. Okay, and you know, we are doing everything.
And we are stitching up this bilateral
and also we are looking for more markets for our products. We are doing more FTAs with UK, as you rightly said, Australia, and the EU things will also be finalized by the fall. That's what the German foreign minister said the other day.
My friends in the American administration also saying there's a lot of pressure on Donald Trump from within, saying इतना भी मत push करो India.
हाँ, the बात सही है ना.
You're hearing the same?
Yes, absolutely. The strategic community is completely against what he is doing.
And also the service sectors, you know, there are largely Indians in that, and they are not. They're scared. They are worried, and you know, अगर वो उठ के चले आए तो कैसे उसका iPhone बनेगा?
And I think the Indian CEOs cancelling out that golf tournament must have really irked Donald Trump.
I heard about that story which Payal is saying. That's very interesting.
So given the bonhomie today and yesterday which has happened, and finally I think the next test of this bonhomie will be, number one, is Donald Trump coming to India for the Quad Summit in October and November, early November, because when Prime Minister and Modi and Trump last spoke on June 17, Mr. Modi had extended the invite to Trump to come here, and Trump had accepted the invite. But since then, there's a radio silence from White House. And the second big question, of course, is trade deal being signed in November, as Piyush Goyal is saying, could be.
Correct me something. I was told that when this Kananaskis conversation happened,
Okay, that's another technical word. Simplify for us.
G7.
Okay.
No, why are you guys making me feel like?
Siddhant,
we
you're
are
the
like arm
expert.
Indians.
No,
You're the foreign policy expert. We are just
you guys
desi.
know everybody in
terms
the
are beyond
government.
our
and
pay
you're-
grade.
No, but they don't take us to G7.
No, nobody takes me also to G7. Anyways, so but correct me if I'm wrong. So I was told that when this proposal was given to Prime Minister Modi to come to the DC so that he can arrange that meeting between, that was a very foolish and idiotic idea, by the way. So at that time, from Indian side, a very low-ranking officer called Washington and said that PM can't come. So is that a correct
That's really
story?
humiliating.
You would know it better, dude.
You know this better. You're the one who's using a big
But
word.
you know, so much of bashing of Dr. Jaishankar over the last couple of months, so much of theory saying he's going to be sacked, he's going to be removed, all kind of hit jobs being done.
Yeah.
Will he be happy today?
Sometimes when you're silent and you do your work, you prove your worth. But you know, on a lighter note, people say that one of the main reasons why that sin tax has been applied on aerated drinks is Cokes and Pepsis. So maybe that's another hit at America, where the Kaju Katlis and Indian mithai.
Bhagwati
and-
said shikanji
and-
piye.
Yeah, and all of them are
Somebody was laughing
cheaper.
and saying, let's now buy whiskey from Europe because we've been able to strike a deal.
But let me tell you, European whiskey and scotch is much better than
Yeah,
American.
definitely.
We don't need to be a foreign policy expert to say this.
No, I'm not saying anything. I was just.
See, the Bengalis are happy because there's no GST on Rasagullas for now.
So
Even if there's a GST on Rasgulla, even if you put a sin tax, let me tell you, every Bengali is going to still have it.
So wrapping up here, and you know,
Before we wrap up,
yeah.
one last question, if I can ask. Okay,
Yes.
now there's GST. So we reporters, हम सबसे पहले क्या खरीदेंगे after 22nd September because of the low GST, and then we'll wrap up. What will you buy? Another car? But you have to buy
no,
an
no,
Alto.
I wanted to buy a new car, so I had put it off. Maybe in December if the
But
rates
big
really
cars
drop.
में नहीं है ना.
I'll buy a small car.
Okay, that's hard to believe, but anyway.
The car is on
you?
my mind also.
I'll buy a bottle of shampoo.
Okay, so yeah, I'll buy a phone.
I'll buy a phone.
It's becoming cheaper.
It's becoming cheaper.
Okay.
I'll buy a phone and
Maybe
We'll
I'll
have
also
a
buy
Make in
phone.
India phones also.
I'll also
we
buy
have Make in India phones also.
we have Make in India phone, but I'll buy one with the.
So we have our wish lists, and we hope that the prices actually decrease, and these companies actually pass on the GST benefit to us, which the government also wants. And I think, as Siddhant was also mentioning, the next couple of months are very crucial. Will the tariff, will the trade deal happen? Will Trump travel to India for Quad and sign the trade deal?
Siddharth,
for
do
all
you
we
think the
know.
Prime Minister will go to the UNGA?
I don't have any clue, but going by.
The doors seem to be a little bit
So
open
far.
now.
Doors are open.
I'm told he's
and-
extremely busy with Bihar election campaigning. That's the
But you know,
reason
there
he
is
might not go.
while there is also ASEAN happening right after
Yeah.
on those dates.
And
So
PM
I
has
think
not
PM
gone to
will-
UNGA
yeah.
since 2021.
And
so
focus
in a
for
way,
India is ASEAN also, given the trade agreement that we are asking ASEAN to review. So I think PM would be going for ASEAN. ASEAN would be the priority.
So
That's
lots
my
coming up. I think very interesting times in Indian diplomacy,
And the
Indian
Bihar elections also.
economy as well, and Bihar elections as
And
well.
BD.
We'll discuss maybe next time Bihar elections as we are
BD,
closing
Bihar
up.
and
We are closing up.
Someone from Kerala had to write it.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
so much.